Introduction. In 2001, I began teaching workshops on the law of attraction. Participants who had been working on their dreams and goals for many years came and were able to meet those goals in several weeks once they began practicing the law of attraction. I was amazed and awed by this spiritual and social law. In 2004, I wrote Develop Irresistible Attraction, describing how to use the law of attraction. And after that DVD, The Secret brought the law of attraction to a worldwide audience at the beginning of 2007. I was able to substantially increase the number of people I could reach who wanted to learn how to apply this law in their own lives. The law of attraction is a universal law open to us by anyone who understands it. Just like the law of gravity, it is predictable and unchanging. While the law of gravity is a physical law that has influence over our physical existence, the law of attraction is a spiritual or social law. Both spiritual and physical laws can be considered natural and both have a predictable set of properties that can be used to affect the physical or material world. We have studied the law of gravity and other physical laws of for years and understand them well, but we are just beginning to discover and seriously study the spiritual or social laws of universe. So how does the law of attraction affect you personally? The law of attraction teaches us that all that we are experiencing in our lives, we have attracted, both the good and the bad, by our thoughts, feelings, prayers, actions, inactions, and soul level decisions. We can change our circumstances by changing the way we think and feel, what we believe, what we say to ourselves, our self-talk, and the actions we take. The energy needed to make our dreams come true is already available and is waiting for our thoughts and beliefs to manifest it into the material world. Love is the energy and the belief is the vehicle for manifestation. There is nothing in existence stronger than love and belief. We can literally create our reality, create the life we want, and manifest our desires, goals, and dreams by using the law of attraction. In 2002, after providing several law of attraction workshops, I noticed that teaching participants about this powerful spiritual law was not enough. Some people in my workshops were not manifesting as quickly as others, even though they were following the same steps. It became apparent that many people were blocking their dreams and goals from manifesting due to their anger, resentment, and lack of forgiveness. I added the law of forgiveness to my workshop when I noticed that my divorced participants were not manifesting their goals as quickly as the who were never married or who had never been divorced or divorced. The divorced people were full of anger and resentment. You could even hear it in their voices when they spoke. It was also apparent that it was not only those who were divorced but others who were angry with family, friends, or co-workers who were slow to manifest. It became clear to me that these people needed to release their anger in order to open themselves to the prosperity that the universe could give them. Hence, I began teaching the law of forgiveness. Little did I know that I was releasing and unleashing the most powerful strategy for personal success I had ever witnessed. While I teach a number of strategies to activate the law of attraction, I had no idea that the law of forgiveness would help people manifest their goals faster and change their lives more profoundly than anything I had ever seen. The story started pouring in about how, time after time, the law of forgiveness had profoundly affected my readers and workshop participants. Not only were they meeting goals and dreams, but their lives were healed in many ways they had never imagined. After watching the amazing transformation over and over again, I began to see that the law of forgiveness could not only change the lives of individuals but had the potential to literally change the world. It was then that I was moved to write a book solely dedicated to this powerful law. This book contains all of the information that you will need to use the amazing law of forgiveness in your own life. When you do, in the words of Henry David Thoreau, you will pass an invisible boundary. New universal or more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves, and you will live with the license of a higher order of beings. How this book is different from other books on forgiveness? Are you saying to yourself, not another book on forgiveness? What could Connie possibly teach us that I have not already heard over and over again? Well, hold on, because I will teach you a simple, easy to use technique that can quickly change your life forever. In my review of books on forgiveness, I found that they do a good job of teaching what forgiveness is about. Some books even go into a detail teaching you concrete steps and extensive exercises you can use to forgive. They all concentrate on how forgiveness will make you feel better mentally, emotionally, socially, even physically. However, not one book I found taught a simple technique for forgiveness that will assist you to make your dreams and goals come true quickly. None of the books even equated forgiveness with meeting dreams and goals. Yes, forgiveness actually helps you get where you desire to go, and it's the fast track way to get them. If you have been struggling to achieve happiness and success, it may interest you to know the lack of forgiveness may be the largest barrier in your life. It could be blocking dreams and goals in every area of your life from manifesting. The technique I will be sharing with you does not involve lengthy, time-consuming exercises. It's not a 30 days to this or 90 days to that approach. The forgiveness technique begins to work immediately when you sincerely implement it. I have seen people manifest goals within 5 minutes. Some manifestations take a little longer, from a few hours to perhaps a week after fully incorporating the forgiveness technique. There are also individuals who take even longer to fully work through the forgiveness due to the nature of their own situations. This technique can be done in the privacy of your home. You don't have to contact anyone, and there is no need for special equipment, skills, prior knowledge, or training. It is remarkable in its simplicity, and I am convinced that is why we have missed it all these years. Believe it or not, you don't have to crawl over broken glass and show scars or go through any other torturous process in order to learn to forgive and experience the amazing results that follow. I will teach you how to forgive, and just as important, how to know when you have forgiven. What is the law of forgiveness? It may sound unusual to be referring to forgiveness as a law, but that's exactly what it is. Forgiveness is a spiritual or social law that, when enacted, can affect the material world. Just like the physical law of gravity, it is universal and unchanging. It has a set of properties you can use again and again with positive results. Energy moves when forgiveness is enacted by someone who is sincere about forgiving. Like the law of attraction, we are just beginning to learn about all the possibilities inherent in forgiveness. As stated previously, predictable and unchanging laws govern our universe and our existence. When you understand these laws and are in alignment with them, our lives run more smoothly, more positively, and we can accomplish much more in shorter period of time. Some laws, such as the law of gravity, we understand well and are able to use to benefit our everyday existence. We are just beginning to understand other laws, such as the law of attraction and the law of forgiveness. Like the law of gravity, once we learn about these laws, we can incorporate them into our daily lives, make practical application of them, and experience amazing results. If we allow these natural laws to guide and teach us, we learn great wisdom. The late psychologist and minister Dan Custer wrote in The Miracle of Mind Power, "Nature is the great giver and great forgiver. Should you cut your hand with a sharp knife, the forces of nature set about immediately to repair the damage. It was a mistake to cut your hand, but nature does not withhold the repairing of the wound. Nature immediately forgives and starts at once to make repairs. Nature even repairs the ravage of battlefield by covering it with grass and flowers. Nature brings us back into harmony, back to happiness and peace if we do our part. So to forgive is natural. Semantics. There are a number of words and phrases people use to refer to forgiveness. Released, let go, pardoned, let go of. But like the law of gravity, the law of forgiveness is natural, universal, consistent, and unchanging. Therefore, it does not matter what words we use, its properties will remain the same. To illustrate this point, consider the law of gravity. Gravity does not care whether you are a Christian, you are a Buddhist, or a Hindu, Jew, atheist, or something else. Altogether. Gravity is a constant force and it reacts in the same manner no matter who you are or what you believe. If a person steps off the top of a 21-story building, the law of gravity is predictable in what will happen next, regardless of that person's belief system. The law of forgiveness is the same, regardless of your spiritual belief system. If you use the law of forgiveness, it will work for you. Nurse researcher Annie Gentry and her colleagues studied the origin of the word forgiveness. They discovered that the origin of the for is forgiveness derives from the Middle English and Anglo-Saxon word for, F-O-R-E, which can mean away. The origin of the word give derives from the Middle English word gave, G-E-V-E, which developed from the Old Norse word gefa, G-E-F-A, meaning to turn something over to someone else. Many people believe when they forgive, they are giving a gift of pardon to the person who offended them. However, when they use the law of forgiveness and have given away or let go of their anger and resentment, they find that, to their surprise, the gift becomes theirs in the form of more peace, happiness, and well-being, and best of all, in meeting their goals and dreams. It is important that the words you choose to use when you enact the law of forgiveness resonate with you. Some people have asked me if they can use the word release instead of forgive. When you practice forgiveness, you are releasing the past to enjoy a more positive future. This does not mean you are condoning or forgetting the transgression, but are instead releasing it, hold on your life. So, if the word release works better for you, it's fine to use it. If I use any words when discussing the law of forgiveness that are not words you normally use, just change them to words that work for you. I'll use the words prayer, thoughts, and meditation interchangeably. You may choose the one that best fits your physiology, psychology, philosophy, and practice. I was raised in the Christian tradition, therefore I will be using some example from my own faith experience. You may wish to think of examples from your own faith tradition, philosophy, or experience. It's also fine if you have no faith preference or tradition. The law of forgiveness will work for you. You will see in the next section that all the world's most predominant religion teach about the importance of forgiveness. In addition, they all teach some form of the golden rule. When compared, we have much more in common with people of different faiths than many of us imagine. The main thing is to not get caught up in semantics, or you will miss one of the most exciting laws I have ever studied for manifesting your goals and dreams, healing your life, and making the world a better place. Forgiveness is in world religions. We hear about the importance of forgiveness constantly from our spiritual and religious leaders. Every major world religion teaches that forgiveness is necessary and important. Forgiveness is truly a universally accepted principle and provides common ground for love, acceptance, harmony, and true happiness. The Dalai Lama, the spiritual and temporal leader of the Tibet, believes that happiness is a natural part of our very existence. In this book, The Art of Happiness, the Dalai Lama says, the very purpose of our life is to seek happiness. That is clear. Whether one believes in religion or not, Whether one believes in this religion or that religion, we are all seeking something better in life. So I think the very motion of our life is toward happiness. Most spiritual and religious leaders will agree that forgiveness of oneself and other is one way to clear the mind, heart, and soul, and may result in a feeling of increased peace and happiness. Our religions, with their millions and millions of followers, can play a major role in assisting people to find peace within themselves and with others. It would be a great example and very helpful if religious leaders could forgive and make peace with one another. In a world where there has been so much conflict down through the ages over our differing religions, beliefs, it is worth discussing for forgiveness within this context. Interestingly, when comparing religions, it becomes obvious that forgiveness is one of the many teachings they have in common. So, in Buddhism also, Christianity also, Hinduism and Islam and Judaism also, we come to know about forgiveness. So, we will learn now about the forgiveness in the process of Buddhism. Buddhism teaches that beliefs should essentially practice prevention, the idea being that acting in loving kindness, compassion, and sympathetic joy will enable followers to avoid developing resentments that would necessitate forgiveness. Buddhism recognizes the damage that anger and resentment can have on the mind and mental well-being. Those practicing Buddhism are encouraged to release their resentments through meditation in order to prevent the continuing cycle of suffering that can result. Christianity teaches that forgiveness originates with God. Christian believers are taught they are to forgive others as God has forgiven them. There are a variety of denominations within Christianity, each with a slightly different viewpoint. Most Christian denominations believe that God's ultimate forgiveness for the sins or wrongful actions of humanity comes through accepting the blood of Jesus as the ultimate sacrifice and substitute for his justice. They are taught to pray and ask God for forgiveness for their sins. On the other hand, there are some Christians who believe that our sense of separateness from God is actually an illusion that leads to guilt and fear. They believe we can release their sense of guilt and fear through the practice of forgiveness. In forgiving others, we learn to forgive ourselves, and thus our illusions of separateness can be healed. The Apostle Paul, who played a major role in establishing Christianity, said, Forgive as the Lord forgave you. Hinduism, those practicing Hinduism believe that forgiveness contains great power in and of itself. The Hindu leader Vidura said, Forgiveness subdues in this world. What is there that forgiveness cannot achieve? What can a wicked person do unto him who carries the sabre of forgiveness in his hand? Fire falling on the grassless ground inextinguished of itself, and the unforgiving individual defiles himself with many enormities. Righteousness is the one highest good, and forgiveness is the one supreme peace. Knowledge is the one supreme contentment, and benevolence one sole happiness. From Mahabharata, Udaya Parva section, translated by Sri Kishari Mohan Ganguly. Hindus also believe in asking the Lord to forgive them. One of their temple ceremony invocations begins with asking the Lord to forgive sins due to their human limitations. Islam, those practicing Islam believing that followers should forgive each other and they can also be forgiven by Allah, God in Arabic. They believe the source of forgiveness is determined by the wrong being committed. If the wrong needs divine forgiveness from Allah, the person asking should be repentant. If one human is forgiving another, it is important to both forgive and be forgiven. To receive forgiveness from Allah, in addition to asking for forgiveness, the believer must recognize and admit the wrongdoing before Allah and make a commitment to not repeat the offense. If another person is involved, in addition to these three requirements, the believer must also ask for pardon from the offended person and make amends within reason. As the Quran says, keep to forgiveness and enjoin kindness. Judaism. In Judaism, believers seek forgiveness from God and people. However, they can only seek forgiveness from God for wrongs that have been committed against God. When they have wronged another person, they must seek forgiveness from that individual. If the person seeking forgiveness is sincere and honest in their apology, the person wronged is required by Judaism to grant forgiveness. If the offender does not apologize, the person who is wronged is not religiously required to forgive them unless they choose to. The Torah reads, when asked by an offender for forgiveness, one should forgive with a sincere mind and a willing spirit. Forgiveness is natural to the seed of Israel. Kippur is probably the most important day in the Jewish faith. It's the official day of atonement. During this day, Jews fast, pray and ask for God's forgiveness for any wrongs they have committed against God during the prior year. Just before Yom Kippur, Jews can right any wrong they have committed against another person during the prior year by asking their forgiveness if they have not already done so. Because so many people are familiar with the topic of forgiveness through their faith tradition, they are very open to trying the forgiveness technique and then teaching it to others. Some people have asked me if they can forgive through their higher power. For example, they may say, through the grace of God, I forgive you, or something similar. I think that's fine as long as you are still sincerely forgiving the person. The major religions mentioned above speak of the importance of both God's forgiveness of us and our forgiveness of each other. In other words, it's fine if you wish to forgive through God as long as you understand that you are still personally and sincerely forgiving the persons who wronged you. The Golden Rule. In addition to encouraging forgiveness, every religion teaches some form of golden rule. If I were asked to distill the essence of all religions into one sentence, it would be love God, higher power, love yourself, forgive others and forgive yourself, be kind to others and yourself, treat others as you would like to be treated. If everyone in the world abided by this simple admonition, what a lovely place the world would be. In reviewing this list, which contains the golden rule defined by religions the world over, it becomes obvious that we have much more in common with each other than we have difference. If we embrace this simple rule taught the world over, what a difference it would make. Baal's faith, ascribe not to any soul that which thou wouldest not have ascribed to thee, and say not that which thou dost not. And if thine eyes be turned towards justice, choose thou for thy neighbor that which thou choosest for thyself. Buddhism, hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. Confucius Xiu Kang asked, is there one word that can serve as a principle of conduct for your life? Confucius replies, it is the word shu, reciprocity. Do not impose on others what you yourself do not desire. Christianity, therefore, all things whatever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Islam, none of you truly believes until he wishes for his brother what he wishes for himself. Judaism, what is the hateful to you, do not your fellow man. This is the law. All the rest is commentary. Native spirituality, all things are our relatives. What we do to everything, we do to ourselves. All is really one. Taoism, regard your neighbor's gain as your own gain and your neighbor's loss as your own loss. Unitarianism, we affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Forgive your enemies. Forgive your enemies. There are stories from every faith tradition about the importance of forgiving those who have wronged you. In this section, I will use an example I am familiar with from Christianity. You are encouraged to find examples in your belief system, faith, practice, or philosophy. In the Christian tradition, Jesus' message was to love your enemies and forgive those who persecute you. According to the New Testament, when Jesus was crucified, he forgave his persecutors. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. When Jesus forgave his enemies and taught us to do the same, he was not just talking about a nice spiritual thing to do for others. He was trying to convey the idea that there is actual metaphysical power in the act of forgiveness. Jesus taught us through his words and actions. When we forgive, we are in reality blocking negative energy and disarming the enemy. Now that's power. You may need to read those last two sentences several times, as it may take a minute or two for you to wrap your head around this concept, because in our society we have not been taught to equate the word forgiveness with the word power. In fact, it is unfortunate that we have been taught to equate the word forgiveness with the words condoning, giving in, and weak surrender. However, there are many stories told down through the ages and into the present demonstrating the true nature of forgiveness as a strategy of great power. So many stories have been told about people who, under frightening circumstances, were able to get into that space of love, acceptance, and forgiveness towards their assailant, just as they were about to be assaulted, robbed, and possibly even killed. They were all surprised when their would-be attackers literally turned and walked or ran away. In March 2005, this very principle was demonstrated by Ashley Smith from Atlanta, Georgia, while she was held hostage by Brian Nicholas, who had just killed a judge and three other people. During this frightening ordeal, she managed to gain the trust of Nichols. In later interviews, she said she just talked to him about love of family and the importance of faith. I basically just talked to him and tried to gain his trust. I wanted to leave to go to see my daughter. That was really important. I did not want him to hurt anybody else. In addition, she engaged him in a discussion about life's purpose and each person's gift and talents. She simply spoke with him and expressed love and understanding. While frightened for her life, Ashley was still able to get in a space of empathy, understanding, and forgiveness. The next morning, Brian allowed Ashley to leave freely to visit her daughter, knowing she could contact the police. Ashley did call 111, 911, and even with several loaded guns in his possession, Brian offered no resistance as she left with authorities. Through the authentic power of love and forgiveness, Ashley, as many others before her, was able to disarm her attacker. I believe this is because the energetic vibration level emitted by Ashley increased so much when she brought forth true love and empathy that in response the world-be assailant could not resist the energy change and had no choice but to put down his weapons. Can you now see that forgiveness is an actual strategy or tactic so powerful, so full of energy, that it can not only change the lives of individuals but literally change the world if applied on a large scale? How do we learn to vibrate at the level high enough to forgive people who hurt us or want to hurt us? For years we have been admonished to forgive, but we're never taught how to do so. This book is about just that, the skill behind the goal. In Leon Grabhorn's excellent book, Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, she details and clarifies how our feelings determine how we vibrate, and our vibratory level determines what we are experiencing in our lives. We are all made of energy, as is everything else. Not only does energy travel in waves, but scientists have now determined that energy also vibrates. Lynn clearly explains that we are vibrating magnets of the universe. Positive feelings cause us to vibrate at the higher level, and vibrating high feels good because it is our natural spiritual state. It's the natural spiritual state of ours, vibrational high state. Negative feelings make us vibrate low, which may make us feel bad or numb, or can even cause us to feel nothing because we may be so accustomed to vibrating low. As energetic magnets, we will attract people, circumstances, or things according to where we are vibrating. So, if you have had what seems like a run of bad luck, look where you are vibrating, as like attracts like. For many people, rage and resentment are causing them to vibrate very low, and they are blocking much of the energy they need to manifest their desired goals. As previously mentioned, this is especially true for people who are either divorced or going through a divorce. They had a lot of anger and lack of forgiveness towards their ex-spouse because of bitterness about alimony, child support, and who got the speedboat. Many participants could not free the energy they needed to manifest their dreams and goals until they had fully invoked the law of forgiveness. When they unleashed all the energy they had tried up in not forgiving and in resentment and hurt, they began reaching their goals immediately. This is also implies to people who come to my workshops carrying anger at bosses who fired them unfairly, parents who abused or neglected them, teenagers who abused their trust, or any number of other reasons. Anything that makes one human get angry at another. By learning and applying the law of forgiveness, surges of energy become available to you right here and now. Your goals rush into the vacuum left by your anger. Everything is composed of energy, and that energy travels in waves. Scientists have discovered that energy is neither created nor destroyed, but changes from one state to another. This is known in the physics as the first law of thermodynamics. Therefore, energy is malleable. For the purpose of our discussion, you can think of energy as modeling clay. In that sense, the energy stuff of the universe can be fashioned by our creative process to make our dreams come true. When we are angry, resentful, and unforgiving, these emotions become energy dams, preventing the energy we need to meet desired goals and dreams. When we forgive and release anger and resentment, the dams are released, and the energy that has been blocked is now made available to us to manifest our goals and dreams. Thank you for listening to me, the impactful introduction of the law of forgiveness. Hope you liked it. I request you to share this audio as much as possible to spread the importance of forgiveness, and I request you to subscribe my channel. This is for today. Thank you.